If you happen to be watching my video, I just want to say thank you, and I hope that you will stick with it and learn something. This video is actually going to be some information you're just not going to get from anywhere else, I don't think. If you do happen to see this information, like I've presented it, let me know. I would love to touch base with other folks that do this stuff, okay? So anyways, I want to first just go over some very important basics, just a couple things in order for you to understand just how important this is, because I'm going to do this little short video first. I don't know if I'm going to release it first and then do follow-ups, or if I'm going to just save it and just add it to stuff as I move along. But since I've been promising that I'd give somebody something on my X and stuff, I figure, I might just put out little pieces at a time. And it is going to build up to something greater in understanding. So anyways, I am going to first go over this ancient Babylon was a center of astronomy and science, okay? And I'm just going to not read everything. I'm just going to go over some basics here. So first, let me also say I do realize that I'm using Google and AI and that all information isn't exact. I already get that, but the stuff I'm going to go over with you is actually pretty well established, so it's not really going to matter. Okay, so ancient Babylon was a center for astronomy and science. They also studied the constellations, categorizing them, that are still used today, and the zodiac. The Babylonians invented the 12 zodiac signs. Okay, so we know that that the constellations and the heavens and astronomy was very important. This is our early astronomy center of sciences, as this is what we are told. And what about Jupiter? And Jupiter being the king of kings, this is the patron god of Babylon, Marduk, okay, which is associated to the planet Jupiter. So it's just important because you're always going to hear me talking to you about Jupiter. So it's the chief god of Babylon and the king of the Mesopotamian gods, all right? And Jupiter is an alchemical symbol of 4 and 2. You could even say it has the 1 in there because you got a 4, a 2, and what can be a 1. But the alchemical symbol of Jupiter is often said it is 42. What about the importance of Jupiter in Greek culture? Yes, because that's Zeus. And in the Roman culture, right? And the Aelia Capitolina was a Roman colony founded during the Roman Emperor Hadrian's visit to Judea. All right, so anyways, it goes on and it's talking about how the Jews couldn't go there except for once a year, and that whom the Romans believed had vanquished and replaced the God of the Jews. And a temple to Jupiter was built in the city because the temples were all built to Zeus and Jupiter, okay? And then all of a sudden the Christians come along, and they start putting their churches on top of the Roman temples to Jupiter, just like Notre Dame is built upon the gallows of the Roman temple to Jupiter. Okay, so anyways, Jerusalem was heavily built by Herod the Great, was still in ruins following the decisive siege of the city of 70 CE as part of the First Jewish-Roman War. All right, so I'm just wanting you to understand how important Jupiter is, okay? So now here is in our capital. So here's the rotunda under which President Trump swore in, who lives in Jupiter, Florida, okay? And Trump swore in under Washington, but Washington is put into the position of Zeus. So George Washington as Zeus, chief among the Greek gods. And here's another statue, George Washington, statue of Zeus at Olympia. Okay, so it's just very important. Um, Imagine if you are like the great men and you're like, I'm the ancestor, the descendant of Jupiter and the descendant of Venus. By the way, Julius Caesar was deified in the year minus 42. So 42 BCE, okay? So that's when he was deified also. All right, anyways. So now that you know the importance of Jupiter, let's go to these Catholic straight answers. So somebody, because this part I'm just doing for sort of like fun, but figured I'd share it with you, okay? All right, so is there any scientific evidence for the Star of Bethlehem? All right, so anyways, they're kind of going over some things here, and I'm like reading it, and I can pretty much tell because it's going to have to do with Jupiter, all right? It's very important. So anyways, did come across this one where the Austrian astronomer Conradin Ferrari de Occhiepo, I'm not sure if that's pronounced right, Occhiepo, in 2003 proposed that the star was in conjunction of Saturn and Jupiter in the constellation Pisces. Because Jupiter is the star of the highest Babylonian deity, Marduk, entered its brightest place when it rose in the evening alongside Saturn, the cosmic representation of the Jewish people. So I went ahead and went to look, and because you can't make anything fit, basically, I don't know how to explain that, but it just is or it is not, all right? So I'm like, okay, well, let's go look. And, sure enough, and I got it set to Rome. But sure enough, there is Jupiter. But it isn't just Jupiter, it's Jupiter with his father, Saturn. It's also Jupiter with the fish, okay? So in Pisces. And it just so happens that Pisces is in fact rising over the south, right between the east and the west. So he not only is Jupiter with his father in the sign of Pisces at midnight between the east and the west directly overhead, okay? It also happens to be on 9/11. And a lot of people do in fact believe that if, there's this birth importance, that there's a lot of people out there that actually believe that Jesus was in fact born on 9/11. Now, this can be true if somebody wants this to be true. I'm not saying it is or isn't. I don't know. But I know in the heavens, Jupiter does happen to be with his father with the sign of Pisces in the year of one of King Herod's reign. So in the year -6 on 9/11 at midnight in the sign of Pisces, it just does so happen that Jupiter was with his father. Okay, so I just wanted to share that because I think that's very interesting. And what's also very interesting is as Pisces goes to its peak, okay, and as the time goes like this, so as now Jupiter and the Father are now over, here comes the light bringer, okay, and the light bringer who rules at midnight on the winter solstice, he brings the light on the longest night of the year. So on winter solstice or Christmas time, the light bearer with his star, 3 stars, rises and is directly over the south at midnight. And he then, every day after he appears, we will start to get lighter every day of continuously, obviously, and until our next solstices and stuff, when we have other, or equinoxes and stuff, when we have balance, all right? So Orion is a major Christ figure up in the heavens, a star Christ figure up in the heavens with his belt of 3 stars, the light bringer at Christmas time. Yule time. And he brings also the one. So as he moves forward, all right, he then brings forward the one, which is going to be the dog star. But first, he brings forward the rose window, the magical unicorn, okay? And then here comes the one, Sirius, and Sirius is the brightest star in our sky. So that is the one that chases the white rabbit. Okay, so they then also bring Judah, the tribe of Judah, the lions, the baby lion, and then the grown-up lion, okay? So everything fell perfect into place just by going and looking to just happenstancing upon this other author or astronomer who says, this would be Jupiter, the highest deity with Marduk and with his father. So I thought, well, geez, if it all actually goes together, that's definitely for sure a major contender for the heavens, okay? So again, remembering how important Jupiter is with his father, with the sign of Pisces, on 9/11, okay, in the year of Herod, King Herod, and then bringing forth the one along with the tribe of Judah. It just happens to fit in the heavens, and the moon just so happens to then be with the ram. Okay. So, anyways, I'm going to leave that part there, and then we're going to just, whatever you want to think of that you want to think of. I just want to leave that there. And then I'm going to take you over to show you something in Revelation so you can see what happens if you actually obey. And I don't mean obey in a certain way. I mean, just literally look at what they told you to look at. We're going to start her on the first day of September, okay? And some of you have seen this, but you haven't seen this. You've seen this, but you haven't seen this. Okay. So, anyways, what ends up happening here? So we're going to put Virgo where she's ruling at noon, all right, at the start of September. And we're going to go read the scripture, and we're going to do what it says, okay? We're not just going to read it and then just go, oh, see this. We're going to actually do what it says and see if we can follow along, okay? All right. It's going to sound weird, right? All right. And there appeared a great wonder in heaven, a woman clothed with the sun and the moon under her feet, and upon her head a crown of 12 stars. So first and foremost, don't get into the mode of, well, you don't know what they're talking about. Yes, we do. We are told that it's in the heavens. So we're going to go to the heavens. We're not going to stay on earth. We're going to go to the heavens because that's what we were told to do. And there does appear a wonder in heaven who does in fact have her crown of 12 stars, who does in fact is clothed with the sun, who does in fact will have the moon at her feet. So I'll show you. So as the sun clothes her, okay, we know that she's going to be clothed with the sun because it's going to go down, all right? And then here comes the moon, okay? Here it comes. All right, we're going to put the moon under her feet, just like it said. So she's now been clothed with the sun. The moon is now under her feet. She has her crown of 12 stars, and she's travailing in birth. She's having birth pangs, because that's what it tells us. And she, being with child, cried, travailing in birth, pain to be delivered. Okay, and who would happen to be there this year of 0 but Jupiter? Okay, so here comes Jupiter. He's going to be born of the woman. All right. And this is great. Wonderful. Okay. And there appeared another wonder in heaven, and behold, a great red dragon, having 7 heads and 10 horns, and 7 crowns upon his heads. Now, I'm not exactly to a T sure how, whatever astronomer author this is, they say it's John. So I'm going to just go with John. All right. So this author, John, I'm not sure exactly what he was seeing as 7 heads and 10 horns, but he is absolutely telling us we are still in the heavens and that we are talking about a red dragon and a crown, okay, and some heads, all right? So we'll do that. But before we do, let's just take a peek and make sure. In the Bible, the dragon is often referred to as serpens or the ancient serpent. And most people would want to say, oh, it's Draco. It's Draco the dragon. But that doesn't seem to quite be, with a lot of the ancient stuff, that's necessarily true. But the serpent and the dragon are in fact by each other, okay? And the serpent does in fact have a crown, and it happens to be a crown of 7 stars. And he happens to sit right where he's supposed to be sitting, waiting for the pained childbirth, okay? And serpents also happens to be the one that goes down into the horizon, all right? So he does move and will go below the horizon and above the horizon. Whereas this dragon, Draco, will only, depending on where in the world you are viewing, will only put his head in the cave. So we do have our woman with the moon under her feet, her crown of 12 stars. She's been clothed with the sun. We now have our serpents. He does happen to have a crown with 7 stars. We happen to have heads all around the horizon, so I just don't know how he was counting the heads, which, they were using the 48 constellations back then. I don't know how many they were fully using by the time Revelations truly comes into prominence of scripture of any kind. But I do know that the author told us where we are looking, and he's given us enough signature pieces to know that we're doing okay. All right? And we'll know we're doing okay because we're going to continue to follow the signature pieces, okay? All right. So, let's do it. Let's do what he says. All right. So, anyways, I'm just going like this, putting my Virgo there and honoring what it says. All right, so now let's continue on. And so we know he draws a third of the stars of heaven, which, they do. There's tons of stars they throw to the heavens. Before the woman was ready to be delivered to devour her child as soon as it was born. So as the planet comes out, as Jupiter comes out and stuff, it's going through. It's just a clever way of saying the next sign is the serpents, okay? He's going to devour. It's the next part of this sign here. All right. And then the woman fled into the wilderness. So first though, he's going to devour the child, but she brought forth a man-child who was to rule all nations with an iron rod. Now, is there a man-child that happens to be majorly important to the heavens, who's the 4th brightest star, and it's Arcturus? Yes, there does. And he happens to be known to have he has a sickle if he's the herdsman, but he also has a staff, a rod, etc. And it is in the older images, okay? So here's with a staff or rod, okay? So when he moves along through the sky, all right, he's ruling all nations with an iron rod. because he's going to surround. See, he's just going to keep moving, and he's just going to surround the world with his iron rod. Okay? If you get lost, just go back and start again. All right? Because it's a lot of information. All right, so let's do it. All right, so we know we're good. We've got our characters. We've got our ruling at noon. We are following along. We know that the serpents is there on the horizon coming up, because that's what we're being told. But then it says the woman fled into the wilderness, where she had her place prepared of God, that they should feed her there 1,203 days. Well, that's 12. Okay, so that's 42 months. All right. So now if we obey this and we just go 42 months with her, all right, because she's carried off into the wilderness, all right, which she will be. So we're just going to leave her right where she is, but we're just going to do 42 months. 42. Okay? So she's gone. She is, in fact, no longer in the wilderness, and her opposing sign 42 months later is, in fact, Pisces again. All right? That's her opposing sign, Pisces, her opposite. And she's gone. She's been carried into the wilderness, right? No problem. Virgo's gone. All right. Cool. So we followed that. And there was war in heaven. Michael and his angels fought against the dragon, and the dragon fought and his angels, and prevailed not. Neither was their place found any more in heaven. And they aren't found any more in heaven. They have now been cast out. He's no longer there to battle. See ya. Okay. But then I heard a loud voice in heaven. Now is come salvation and strength and the kingdom of our God and the power of his Christ. For the accuser of our brethren is cast down. So now we know that those stars are going to be cast down again, which accuse them before God day and night. By the way, there is a Father right here, and he happens to sit on the throne in the highest of the north, in his house, the Father's house, on his throne in the highest of the north, and he happens to be the king, the Father that rules at the highest, okay? And that is Cepheus, and you'll see. All right, so there's our Father. And then it says, and they overcame him by the blood of the Lamb, and the word was their testimony, which is what we had. They did. They overcame him with the blood of the Lamb over here with the Pisces and stuff, okay? So that's exactly what they did. Just like it said, she's gone into the wilderness. The serpents, he's not found. The battle happened. But the Father's there. The Lamb is there, okay? So we followed it. Okay, therefore rejoice ye heavens and ye that dwell in them. Woe to the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea, for the devil is come down unto you. So he's went down below the horizon to the earth, to the sea. See, he's down now, down here in below. Okay? He's down below. Down here. And he's gone. Gone in the sea. All right. But then it says the woman's given 2 wings of a great eagle, that she might fly into the wilderness, into her place where she is nourished for times, and a half a time from the face of the serpent. Again, that's 42 months. So we're just going to go ahead and do what it says for 42 months. Okay, so... And lo and behold, we're back to the spring or the autumnal equinox. So the 42 months before, we were in the spring equinox, and they're switching positions between equinoxes, you see? So that's all they're doing. Between their 42 months, they're disappearing for their 3.5 years or whatever. But in that time frame, there's been several equinoxes, but this is like for some reason they decided to do a 3.5 year time frame on it. I'm not sure the code of that, why they chose that, but they did in fact do that, and they did in fact tell us what would be in the heavens between these 42 months. And again, 42, I repeat, is an alchemical symbol also of Jupiter. So anyways, we do our 42 months, but it says the woman were given the two wings of a great eagle, that she might fly into the wilderness, into her place where she's nourished for this time, which she does, because the great eagle that's what's going to come up. So the eagle, he's helping to carry her through everything. Okay. She has the wings on her back, Corvus. I don't think that they mistakenly called that a great eagle, because there actually is a great eagle here. So the great eagle, Aquila, our Roman eagle, which would be important, happens to also hang out with the serpents, and in the flood, in the water, because you're going to see the serpents in his water. So just so you know, the Milky Way was called the flood. So, and in the flood sits an ark, and in the ark is a dove, and Noah sent a dove to and fro, or sent the dove and the raven, and okay, whatever. But I'm just saying the ark sits in the flood of the Milky Way, okay? And in that flood, the serpents is going to, with the flood, and the great eagle wings, they're going to carry her into the wilderness, just like it tells us. So, into the woman were given two wings of the great eagle, where she might fly into the wilderness, into her place. And she's going to go again for her 42 months. And the serpent cast out of his mouth water as a flood after the woman, that he might cause her to be carried away of the flood. And the earth helped the woman, and the earth opened her mouth and swallowed up the flood, which the dragon cast out of his mouth. And the woman was wroth with the woman. And the dragon was wroth with the woman, and went to make war with the remnant of her seed. And she is the one with the seed. So the serpent, the flood, and the eagle are going to carry her forth into the earth with her seed, because she is the tree of life. She is Virgo. She has the seed, okay, spica, the ear of grain, and she is the one with the branch. Okay, so she is the one with the tree of life with the branches. And this explains a lot of other stuff going into other people's scriptures and stuff like that, okay? But I'm not going to go into all that right now. So anyhow, that's what she's going to do. And there she goes. There's the great wings of the eagle, the serpents, and there goes our Queen of Heaven in her wonder. And we got to go through literally a 7-year cycle with her. So just from that one scripture, just from that one revelation, we've been instructed to go twice, 3.5, 42 months, okay? And when we do it, amazingly, it follows along. So I want to say thank you for watching the video. And again, I just want to stress the importance of the beautiful, majestic clock in our heavens. I also would like to say, it's going to seem really cheesy or whatever just to mention this, but if you were like an atheist, say, and you were to say, what do you believe that there's some man that sits in his house on a throne up in the heavens? Well, in a scientific astronomy, laying out the tapestry of the heavens, there actually is a father up on his throne, in his house, And not only that, his actual knee star here was one of the North Stars, because our North Star switches from between Polaris, Are, his knee, okay, the father's knee, and Thuban over here with this dragon, and Vega. So the North Star switches over the course of like just thousands and thousands of years. So I just wanted to say that. And if you also happen to be atheist or whatever, or you think that, oh, the Bible is just a bunch of contradictions, if you thought about it in a whole different way, you might not think that. And I'm not a Christian, uh, even though I was being trained as a young girl about Christian missionary work and stuff. I had to learn about, star stuff. And, anyways, I'm just going to leave all of that there for now. And again, to remind you of the utmost importance to our men in history who would love to be recognized in the heavens on the side of Zeus, to Jupiter, and that it's one of the things that great men would strive towards. But then I want to tell you that I'll be following it up with more dark things, because it's one thing to use this most grand clock, this beautiful timepiece, for certain majestic reasons. It's also used, in my viewpoint, and I will show it in my future videos, as against us, and how Jupiter is used against us. So, anyways, you guys have a good one.